Catapulting Commissions family, what's up, team? Welcome back to this week's episode of the Catapulting Commissions Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Garcia. Now, look, if you are looking to catapult your commissions, we have talked in depth on sales professionals, sales leaders, entrepreneurs. The one thing we all have to learn is how to have a successful business, how to succeed in sales, and how to excel in your revenue metric, whatever that may be. Now, my guest today is fire. Fire is the number one way I could describe it. Lee Dumas is the founder and the host of the award-winning podcast, Entrepreneurs on Fire. With over 1 million monthly listeners and 7 figures in annual revenue, JLD is spreading entrepreneur fire on an entrepreneur fire on a global scale. His first traditionally book published is The Common Path to Uncommon Success. It's available right now. Go ahead, get out there. The link's in the show notes. Get it. JLD, welcome to the Catapulting Commissions Podcast.
AG, I am fired up to be here, brother. Let's ignite.
Dude, let's jump into this. So I got to be honest with you, man. When I was first introduced to you, I came into your system through Peter Voog, his Game Changers Academy, got connected with you. And I have to be honest with you, man, I fell in love with the podcast, Entrepreneurs on Fire. And one of the things that I learned when you launched the show, there were so many, I could hear a different entrepreneur daily. I could hear from people who had a background similar to me. I could hear people that I didn't even know you could make a business successful. You have 1 million people listening to your show. You have to have some insight here. Let's talk about some of these things here. What's the number one reason entrepreneurs fail at such a high percentage rate?
Let's break it down, brother. You are going to fail if you are a weak, pale imitation of somebody else. And that's what so many people do, AG. They're just like, oh, look at X, Y, and Z having success. Look at Peter Voog, look at JLD. Like, let's just launch weak, pale imitations of those people. And who wants weak, pale imitations of other people? Nobody. Yes, you are correct. But guess what? You are special. You are unique. You're a snowflake. There is a big idea inside of you that's your big idea so that you can wake up every single day and live in your zone of fire. And it's there. We just have to get it out of you. We have to have you sit down and go through the process to actually identify your big idea for potentially the first time in your life. I mean, look at AG. He got focused on CC, catapulting commissions, and he's becoming the best person talking about catapulting your commissions because he is getting niche and specific on his zone of fire in his area of genius and his big idea. What's your big idea? How can we draw that out of you? That's what you need.
So I hear that. And as you're saying that, there is a challenge, right? We get inspired by people. Like someone motivates you to take a step in that entrepreneur journey, and you go and you say, okay, I want to do what JLD is doing. I want to go do what Gary V is doing. I want to move at this scale, but you're saying I have to do it myself. I have to be the best version of me. I can't be the next you. Is that what kind of understanding from there?
Nobody wants a pale, weak imitation of somebody else. What people want is the best possible version of you. If you can look within and find a big idea within yourself that's there, by the way, you just have to find it, and then become the best solution to a real problem in that zone of fire, you will win. Doing anything else, you're going to lose.
All right. So if I find this big idea, and there seems to be confusing messages out there when we talk about these big ideas. I look at a big idea as, hey, I'm passionate about something. I like big ideas, but sometimes a big idea, is that enough to make me successful as an entrepreneur? Everyone has big ideas.
Listen, you're only halfway there, AG. Passion does have to be part of the equation, but it's only half of the equation. Because picture this. Oh, I'm passionate about this. I'm excited about this. I'm enthusiastic about this. Good for you. I'm very excited. How does it help me in my life? How does it solve a problem for me? If it doesn't, it's just a hobby and nobody really cares. They might be kind of happy for you that you found a hobby, but besides that, you're off to the races. What you need with your passion, with your excitement, with your enthusiasm is a whole other side of the equation, which is your expertise, your skills, value that you could add to the world. There has to be a combination of both of those things. You need to have your passions over commingling with your expertise. You have to merge your enthusiasm with your skills. You have to be bringing value to the world. Nobody's going to care about what you're doing unless you're solving a problem for them. That's the key. That's what most people are missing. They're just going one or the other. Oh, I'm passionate about this. Okay, great. But if it's not valuable or adding value or solving a problem, nobody cares. Oh, I'm really good at this. I can add value in this. But if you don't have any passion or excitement for that, you're going to fizzle out over time because you're not going to want to get up and do that thing. You need both. There has to be a combination.
Catapulting Commissions family. Did you just hear that? Solve a problem. No one cares until you solve a problem. Launching your big idea. Selling your course, your product, your widget, whatever you're selling, solve that problem. So if that big idea says, okay, I got to get some passion, I want to solve this problem. I have to be honest with you, man. The book, I got a preview of it. I took little notes, a review of some of the things. Common Path to Uncommon Success. You lay out a roadmap on how to be successful in a manner that's uncommon. And I want to share a quote, Catapulting Commissions family. In the beginning of the book, when you do the common things in life in an uncommon way, you will command the attention of the world. George Washington Carver. I mean, that's how the book opens up. I'm very rarely have I brought anybody on and been a fanboy and like, hey, you have to get this book. But I'm telling you, if someone's telling you I can get you to successfully and unsuccessful in an uncommon manner, take note. 17-step framework. What's your favorite step there?
I love them all, brother. I love every single one, but I have an answer for you. I'm going to give it to you. This book is a culmination, AG, of the 3,000 successful entrepreneurs that I've interviewed over the past decade that have combined to include more than 100 million total listens. Got to be honest with you, I've learned a few things through those 3,000 interviews that I've applied to my own business, which has been a multi-million-dollar business for 8 years in a row. I took all those lessons, I took all those learnings, and I boiled it down to these 17 steps, these 17 core foundational principles that you're talking about. And I put it into a chronological step-by-step roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment. So if you want a step-by-step roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment, this book is for you. I love every one of these steps. They're critical. They're mandatory. My favorite, though, is step 7, chapter 7. 71,000 words, as I shared, brother. 13,500 words is chapter 7, step 7. The other chapters average 3,000 words. This is 13,500 words. Design your content production plan. My content production plan used to be terrible. It's fantastic now. I'm a decade into this. I've been adjusting, pivoting, improving all of it for a decade now. So it is fantastic. It is the reason why I've been running a multi-million-dollar a year business for 8 years in a row, 91 months in a row, AG, of $100,000 of net profit or more. That is the reason my content production plan is a beast. If you're hearing my voice, if you're seeing my face, I've got some tough love for you. Your content production plan is terrible. It's not just bad. It is terrible. And that's okay. Mine used to be terrible as well. It really did. You can improve. You have to improve if you want financial freedom. You have to improve if you want to catapult your commissions. You have to improve if you truly want fulfillment and uncommon success in your life. And guess what? I have a 13,500 word chapter that has everything you need to go from your terrible content production plan, which you have right now, to a fantastic one, and it will change your life.
Man, so let's spend a few minutes here on this. I want to piggyback on this content production plan, because when I hear the phrase content production, I look at, okay, maybe there's a personal brand, right? Catapulting Commissions created under Anthony Garcia, that's my brand. But some of these companies, or I'll even speak of some of the clients who've retained me. Hey, and I don't, is the content production plan okay for me? I run a construction company. Is content production plan successful for me? I run a audio engineering company. I'm the guy that edits the Catapulting Commissions podcast. Is content applicable for every entrepreneur?
If you are an entrepreneur that has a voice, a message, a mission that you want to share with the world, 100% yes. If you do not fit into those categories, then no.
Fair enough. Now, what would give me some words here on the person that's saying, okay, but why me, John? Like, why is my message superior? I mean, I got to be honest with you. I've been running a content plan for 18 months now since I've launched the brand. And I have a screenshot of all the wonderful people that give me feedback early in my career on YouTube and Instagram, and it gets there. But that holds people back. Like what would you tell that person that says, JLD, I love that, man, but why me? What makes me special?
Well, number one, you're not special until you are special. And you become special when you are solving a very real problem to the best, not just of your abilities, but that's out there in the world. If you can follow this, if you can actually come through in this next sentence, you are going to win at a high level. And that is solving a problem at the number one level. So if you can become the number one solution to a real problem, let me repeat that, the number one solution to a real problem, you will win. Then you'll be special. Then you will have an amazing solution for a real problem that people want, people need. And AG, when you have the number one solution to a real problem, number one, people will be a path to your door for that solution. When you have the number 2 or the number 10 or the number 410 solution to a real problem, people will ignore you and they could care less because people want the number one solution to a real problem. And guess what? It's going to take you coming up with your big idea and then taking step 2, which is discovering the niche within your big idea that is not being served, filling a void that is not being filled, identifying a problem that is not being solved, and becoming the best solution to that problem.
Oh, I love it. I love that, Catapulting Commissions family. If you aren't committed to your craft to be number one, number 2 through 1,000 are essentially the same, guys. Take that extra step, put in the extra hours, get the work in that you want, because the truth is no one gives a damn about your goals, your aspirations, until you can solve that real world problem. And I love how JLD is sharing that with you. So 3,000 entrepreneurs, a decade long. And by the way, if you haven't checked out Entrepreneurs on Fires on the podcast and JLD's content, one of the things that he put out is his profit report, his net profit statement. He put out for a really long time online, and you could see it. And I have to be honest, I've looked at it, I'm like, man, that's motivation, because it's transparent, it's honest, it's not these gimmicks. But you've interviewed so many people. What is it that these entrepreneurs that are excelling at high levels? I think of somebody like I know Hal Elrod. He's mentioned in your book. He contributed at this book. You have some really big names in this book that put little inserts in there. What is it that people really want to achieve in their lifetime?
91 months in a row, we publish our monthly income report. We bring in our lawyer for a legal tip, our accountant for a tax tip. This is the most trafficked web page on our website because it adds so much value. We are creating massive solutions to real problems. So just to give you an example on that. So what do people really want in this world? Like, let's be honest. At the surface level, we all want different things. And that's okay. It's okay to want different things. AG has different passions than me. He wants different things than me. And that's okay. But at the core of me, at the core of AG, and I'm speaking for you, and please disagree with me if you disagree with me, but we'll see what happens. We want the same thing because we're human beings. We want these 3 things. We want to wake up in the morning and do what we want to do, where we want to do it, with whom we want to do it with. If you're doing that as a human being, you are winning at life. You are succeeding. You have freedom. And if you have freedom to do what you want, where you want, with whom you want to do it, what else is there?
I will 100% agree with you.
I was so nervous. I thought you were going to disagree with me. Just kidding.
100%. I want to do what I want, where I want, when I want. I mean, if your story, I mean, you live in Puerto Rico now. You weren't always there. I've seen the pictures. It is glorious. But here's the thing. When you tell somebody, do what you want, where you want, when you want, I've shared the story that, hey, my plan is to move to Cabo San Lucas with a business that doesn't require me to live in California anymore. And that's the long-term plan. And we're being step by step, I'm putting those places in there. I hear people want to do what they want, when they want, where they want. Is there, in this group of people that you've interviewed, is there a point where they give up? Is there a point where they say, hey, that's not, I can't commit to it. I can't get there. Almost, I don't want to call it imposter syndrome, but maybe fear that they can't accomplish that lifestyle. How do you recommend someone get over some of these hurdles?
Listen, if you want to get over the hurdles in life, you first and foremost just got to look in the mirror and realize that you're a human being. You're going to have doubts. You're going to have fears. You're going to be a coward at times because you're a human being. So get over it. Like, stop feeling bad about yourself or hiding because of these doubts and fears and emotions that all human beings feel. Now pick yourself up and say, okay, there's two things I need to do right now. Number one, I've got to find the right mentor, which is step 5, chapter 5 in this book. The right mentor is somebody who is currently where you want to be. Somebody is currently where you want to be. So back in 2012, when I wanted to become a successful business podcast host, I went and found a successful business podcast host and I hired that individual, and that was a win for me. Step 6, chapter 6, which is the next thing you need to do, join or create a mastermind. If you are not part of a weekly mastermind that is including 3 or 4 peers, never more, never less, in that realm, and following the specific formats that I lay out in this book, you are doing masterminds incorrectly. There's a right way to do it, and then there's all the other ways, which is the wrong way. You're likely doing it the wrong way. 99% of you are, and you're just wasting time as a result. There's a way to make masterminds and accountability groups amazing, and there's a way to make them an absolute waste of time. And almost every single person makes them just a big weekly or monthly waste of time. Stop wasting your time.
I love that. I love the mentor approach. I love finding somebody who's doing things at a scale larger than you. I mean, it really is. I mean, somebody who I've looked up to for a long time, Rory Vaden, I got some of his group because he has this massive sales background. So you're like, these are mentors that you want to become like, you want to learn from. Don't ever find that mentor that is not where you want to go. Don't ask someone to take you somewhere you haven't been, which brings me to this question on this mentor and mastermind. I guess these both go hand in hand. How often do you evolve? I mean, let's say you grow, right? Who you are today isn't who you were in 2012. So how often do you say, okay, it's time to level up this mastermind, level up this mentor, or do you stick with that person on the long haul?
Well, listen, if you are joining the right mastermind and you really make sure it's the right one, your mastermind will grow with you. I mean, it will grow with you because as you're growing, they're growing as well. You're supporting each other. You're building each other up. So hypothetically, you could be in the same mastermind for a really, really long time. Now, of course, if some people end up not pulling the weight over time, they need to be exchanged out for the right individuals. But you want to find the right 2 or 3 people to join you to make that a 3 or 4 person mastermind to grow with you. Now, on the mentor side of things, listen, I do believe in a mentorship where it's like they can teach you all they can teach you, maybe in 3 months, maybe it's 6 months, maybe in some cases it's a year, but they can guide you, they can mentor you, and then you've got their mentorship. And now it's like, what's the next thing I want to do? So for me, it was, again, I wanted to launch a successful business podcast. So for 3 months, my mentor trained me how to do that. And then I was like, okay, now I want to learn how to create webinars that actually convert. And I don't even know how to do that. So I hired Lewis Howes, who taught me how to create webinars that convert. And I had him as my mentor for 6 months. And it's been going on and so forth. Like whenever I want to learn that next skill, I find the person who is amazing in that skill, and they become my mentor for as long as it takes until I'm ready to go to that next thing.
I like that. It's almost like the niche. You want a mentor that's going to excel in that exact space. Great feedback. I mean, Lewis Howes, I mean, you're the mentor you had there, one of the best in the world to have ever done it. And still, I mean, the network of people that come from your mentor is just massive. Catapulting Commissions family, if you haven't got a mentor, you haven't got a mastermind, please make that change immediately. Stop, look it up, click the link in the show notes, get a hold of me. I mean, there are ways to get somebody connected to where you want to go. JLD, this book, Common Path to Uncommon Success. First, congratulations, because I don't think people realize this is a traditionally published book. This is not a self-published book, and I'm a self-published author, so I get both ends of the spectrum. But congratulations on that, bud.
Thank you. I'm a self-published author as well. I published 3 self-published journals in 16, 17, and 18. I love that process. But at the end of the day, it was my comfort zone. I was in my comfort zone where I knew how to crush self-published launches. And I wanted to get outside of my comfort zone because that's where all the magic happens. I preach that. I like to practice what I preach. So I said, I'm going traditional this route. I'm going the traditionally published book route. I want a real editor, a real publisher. I want a book launch team. I want all the things. I want a 6-figure advance. Like, give it all to me. And I got it. And I made it happen. And like, that was a very, very enjoyable process. Pros and cons to everything though. So believe me, like, there's some things I missed about being self-published for sure. But at the end of the day, I think the best book was made because of my publishing team.
Awesome, buddy. Well, congratulations getting traditionally published. I know that's a journey that my audience enjoys hearing. Catapulting Commission's family, common path to uncommon success. It's available. It's only a matter of time. If not, by now, we'll see it on a New York Times bestseller, Wall Street Journal bestseller. JLD, can you share us a little bit? Where can people get a copy of the book? Where can people learn more about you? All the good stuff.
Listen, my podcast is Entrepreneurs on Fire. Love for you to give it a listen. Over 3,000 episodes have been published. But the book, uncommonsuccessbook.com is the URL, uncommonsuccessbook.com. So if you want to jump on your common path to a very, very amazing version of your uncommon success, if you want to get on a 17-step revolutionary roadmap to financial freedom and fulfillment, the common path to uncommon success is for you. Visit uncommonsuccessbook.com. It's also at every book outlet you can imagine. uncommonsuccessbook.com.
Catapulting Commission's family, uncommonsuccessbook.com. Do yourself a favor. Go get it. Get connected. You can find all the links in the show notes. JLD, thank you for joining the Catapulting Commission's family and breathing fire to this audience, man. I wish you nothing but abundant success and kick major butt with this book launch, buddy.
Thanks, AG.
Catapulting Commission's family, you know what to do. Subscribe, like, comment, and I will see you next week.